Hey, since we're sitting here waiting for whitebait to turn up who aren't really turning up, and the odd trout, but yeah, they're not turning up that much either. I thought, found a couple of interesting things this week to bug the crap out of me, to be perfectly honest. The first thing was yesterday they put the price of diesel up 20 cents a litre, and I've seen in this country of ours most of my life here, our government just doesn't really do anything. They don't have the balls to actually do anything about anything. They don't make decisions. They just run around patting each other on the back and having a great old time on the taxpayer. 20 cents a litre jump in one day is just unbelievable. Like, I can't put my wages up 10% whenever I feel like it. It's bordering on criminal, and the fuel companies here, they're building fuel stations left, right and centre all over the place. They're making, like the supermarkets, so much money out of us, it's just not funny. It's just a huge cash cow with the government rolling in the money and having a great old time. MPI just invested $6.7 million of our taxpayers' money that's meant to be going into the nurses and the health system into a salmon farm. I mean, our society's breaking down. It's absolutely breaking down, and the real funny bit about it, what cracks me up the most, is the rich people actually think very much the same as what the Egyptians and the pharaohs and that used to. They think exactly the same, and they're going to die as well. And tough shit. Really don't care. It's going to be interesting to see whether I actually see them come down. But I probably might, because it's not that far away, I think. There's some other interesting bits and pieces I've noticed. Young Stacey Dooley, I watched her go to the Congo. She ran a documentary series about child labour, and the kids are being picked up and put into the militias over there, basically stolen out of various villages and things like that, and turned straight into soldiers, and they just become vicious little murdering thugs. And the United States and Britain and France and all them, they've got unlimited power at their disposal to put an end to all that sort of stuff, but they just don't. What they do instead is they murder people in Afghanistan and Iraq, and literally murder them. I saw a thing in, I think it was Afghanistan, where the Americans bombed the Doctors Without Borders hospital and killed them, a bunch of them. Bloody doctors from the Doctors Without Borders thing, and they haven't been held to account, which is quite interesting, because Russia did the same thing, and America flew off the rails about it. It wasn't the Doctors with Borders, but it was some hospital or something, and they're calling it war crimes and all that sort of stuff. There's a massive imbalance here. This world is, dare I say it, in dire need of a reset. A reset as in a nuclear war reset that gets rid of everyone and starts again. And as much as our technology and everything is great, and me sitting here talking on a camera while I'm bored shitless whitebaiting, the technology of ringing up and chatting away on phones and things, it's marvellous, but the devil's winning. well and truly. And yeah, people really need to understand that. It's not a good situation to be in by a long shot, and it's going to get a hell of a lot worse soon, especially when you've got governments who just can't do anything or won't do anything. They've got no ability to make decisions anymore that I've seen, and I mean all of them. So yeah, that's quite interesting. It's funny how a pretty little 22-year-old chick from England can pick up all these terrible things that are happening in the world, and she's got nothing, and she can stand up and fight about it. And yet we got the most powerful countries in the world who are just impotent, really. Yeah, it's quite an interesting little thing. So I also saw a couple of things about our forestry on last week. I've done a couple of videos on forestry, and the forestry's just about got all of our conservation areas now, and I've seen Dame Anne Salmond was saying that the governments are just letting them do it. She's absolutely correct. They are letting them do it. They're facilitating it as quickly as they possibly can, and locking everybody out. And they're just going to make it 10 times worse now, because the immigrants are being brought into the country with their families. We're already in the middle of a housing crisis, and it's just going to make it 200 times worse. I mean, any idiot can see that, and yet they don't seem to be able to figure out how to fix anything. Well, I'm going to get off my ass and stop grizzling and go and have a look at this net and see what's actually in there. It's been pretty quiet season, so I'm not entirely hopeful, but hey, it's a beautiful day, and if you're not out here doing it, you will never know. So yeah, from here, greetings, and yeah, not far to go to the end of the whitebait season now, and next year we'll find out if the changes that they have made are actually going to have any impact on our future for the whitebaiting. What I will say just before I do leave this and go and post it is the dairy farm here has made this whole place stink like nothing else, and the water is shit now, and the mud is just turning up everywhere. So it's not just having an impact, it's having a major catastrophic impact on this environment. And I mean, if you can't see that in the 10 years that you've been walking up and down this river, you know, you're basically blind and deaf and dumb, because it's just it's turning into a mud hole. But hey, money first, eh? Alright, see what whitebait's in there. Adios.